Welcome, fellow directors, to a truly indispensable session today. We're not just skimming the surface of acting theory, we're diving deep, right into the absolute bedrock of what makes a performance truly transformative. We're talking about those unseen internal forces, the things that make a character burn with undeniable, visceral truth. And your role in this, as directors, it goes way beyond just blocking or getting the lines right. It's really about guiding your actors, pushing them beyond simple portrayal, compelling them into something raw, into a human experience so profound it feels, well, utterly inevitable on screen. So today, we're here to equip you with the precision, the insight you need to unlock that depth. A depth in your actors and, therefore in your storytelling that you might not have thought possible before. We'll be focusing on two absolutely foundational concepts, crucial within the Chubbuck technique.
Yes, indeed. And what we really need to grasp fundamentally as we kick off this crucial session is that no scene ever truly begins at zero. It just doesn't happen. Words, when you just look at them on the page, they're never neutral. Every single scene, the truth is, it starts mid-storm, not on some blank page, not calmly. It's already in motion. Characters, well, like all of us, right? They arrive carrying the full psychological weight, the emotional velocity of everything that happened right before, and critically, everything that forged them over their lifetime. So it is your absolute mandate as a director to ensure this profound truth is never forgotten by your actors, because forgetting it, that's forfeiting authenticity right there. Today, we're going to meticulously explore the two concepts that are essentially the actor's lifeline to that profound truth. And by extension, they become your most indispensable tools as directors. We're talking about the moment before and previous circumstances.
That's such a powerful way to put it, mid-storm. And it rings so true for our own lives, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. We don't just materialize in a room totally detached, unburdened by what just happened 5 minutes ago or 50 years ago. No, we carry the residue. The leftovers of our last conversation, maybe the anxiety of a deadline hanging over us, or the quiet joy from a small win, or the sting of some hidden betrayal. We bring all that into the next moment. Human beings, and therefore the characters your actors are building, they arrive in every single instance loaded with this emotional velocity, with a distinct psychological residue, and with this invisible but absolutely undeniable pressure. There's always a history playing out. Always. A past interaction, a conflict still simmering under the surface, or maybe a tiny fragile hope that affects how they even take their first breath in the scene.
Precisely. We carry those ghosts, don't we? Ghosts of past experiences. Or maybe it's that surge of adrenaline from a recent shock, a sudden piece of news. Or the quiet weight of guilt from a choice we made, maybe a difficult one. Or that burning urgency of a need we have to fulfill. We carry all of that into every interaction, into every room we walk into. This isn't just some abstract theory. This is the fundamental truth of how human life operates, moment to moment. So your primary duty as a director, and this is a duty you have to embrace with, really, an unwavering commitment, is to absolutely ensure your actor never plays a scene disconnected from the emotional memory, from the profound circumstances, or the inevitable consequences tangled up in their character's life. You have to guide them with precision, with clarity. Guide them to enter every single moment carrying the full, unstoppable psychological momentum of everything that came before. Everything. Without that meticulous, really intentional setup, the first line your actor speaks, it's going to be flat, generic. It won't have any real internal engine driving it. The performance just floats. It's built on thin air. Utterly devoid of that internal necessity, those compelling stakes we need. But with this deep understanding and with diligent, disciplined application, that first line, it becomes truly dangerous. It's infused with the undeniable truth, the palpable urgency that we as an audience, we don't just demand it, we feel it. We recognize it instinctively.
Okay, right. Let's really unpack this first crucial concept then. The immediate spark, you could call it, the moment before. And like you said, this isn't just, the logistics. Character walks into the room. No. It is pure, unadulterated ignition. That's a great word for it. Think of it like the final, specific emotional trigger, or maybe the culminating action, or even just a powerful driving thought the character experiences in those microseconds right before the scene starts, before the first line is even spoken, maybe even before they physically enter the space. It's that breath-holding tension just before you sigh in relief, or the sharp intake of breath before a scream, or that flicker of doubt just before you make a decisive move. It's the spark, right before the scene itself explodes.
Exactly. And this precisely defined moment before, it unequivocally dictates the character's exact energy when they enter. It dictates the specific urgency that's propelling them forward and the precise emotional temperature, the heat or the coldness with which they speak or move, or even why they choose to remain utterly meaningfully still. Stillness can be incredibly active when it's fueled like this. Just consider the profound difference. Imagine your actor arriving. Maybe they're coming from the raw, still shaking aftermath of a bitter, devastating fight. They're vibrating with it. Or contrast that. Maybe they're coming from the lingering, almost tangible warmth of a passionate, tender kiss. The whole body feels different. Or maybe the devastating, paralyzing shock of witnessing a sudden death. Or perhaps the crushing weight of a decision they deeply regret, something they're now trying desperately to outrun or justify. This moment before, whatever it is specifically, will, without exception, color everything that follows. Everything. It directly fuels their initial tactic in the scene, how they try to get what they need. It profoundly shapes their physical presence, their posture, how they hold themselves. And crucially, it provides the visceral, the undeniable answer to your constant question as a director, the most vital question. Why now? Why does this scene absolutely have to begin precisely here, in this exact urgent moment? What makes it unavoidable now?
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. And incredibly powerful for your actors, an effective moment before. It ensures that the very first line they deliver or the first action they take, it costs something profound, something visceral. It costs blood, like you said, metaphorically. It carries that raw, lingering emotional residue, what just transpired. Maybe it's a betrayal that still stings deep in their gut, right? A physical sensation, or maybe a difficult choice they're just desperately trying to justify, even just to themselves, that internal argument. Or maybe it's a fragile hope they're almost too scared to even voice aloud. It's precious, vulnerable. This isn't about entering a scene politely or neutrally. That's death to authenticity. No, it creates immense behavioral pressure. It forces the actor into a primal state. Survival mode, not detached observation. The very breath they take before they speak, it's already charged with immense inescapable stakes that are a direct and immediate consequence of that immediate pass, that moment before. This is how you bypass the actor's intellect, right? And tap directly into their instinct, their gut reaction.
And this concept, it clarifies not only why the scene begins here, but perhaps even more crucially, why the characters simply could not hold it in any longer. Why now? It becomes the inevitable explosion, the moment of reckoning, the precise psychological and emotional tipping point where action becomes utterly, inexorably unavoidable. There's no other choice but this scene. Think about a character who delivers a seemingly calm first line. Okay, if their moment before involved, say, enduring a profound public humiliation just outside the door, suddenly that calm isn't calm at all, is it? It's loaded. It's got this terrifying, brittle control. It's a desperate attempt to suppress a raging storm inside. The tension is palpable. Or conversely, flip it. What if they were meticulously building the courage just to walk through that door for weeks, maybe months, building up to this very moment? Then that calm entrance. It's infused with monumental, fragile bravery. It's a huge victory just to be there. These are the kinds of deeply specific questions that really illuminate the moment before. They make it truly live for your actor, that first line. It's not a simple beginning. It's a profound culmination of what just happened.
Okay, so moving from understanding it to actually doing it. Your role as the director here is absolutely paramount, crucial. You have to tirelessly guide your actors. You have to help them unearth those precise burning memories, those exact emotional triggers. And you have to steer them away from those vague, generalized abstractions. Things like, I'm sad or I'm nervous. Because those are just labels for feelings, right? They're not specific events. And they don't give the actor anything actionable, anything concrete to do. They can't play sad. They can play the event that made them sad. You have to demand concrete, visceral events that possess real texture. Push them. Ask about the specific sounds they heard, the distinct smells maybe that lingered in the air, the precise faces etched in their memory from that moment, the minute gestures someone made that stuck with them. Everything that makes the moment feel genuinely lived, experienced. You want a specificity that stings. That's the goal. A detail so sharp it cuts right through any intellectualizing. It roots their behavior in undeniable, unshakable truth, not just some vague concept of an emotion.
Let's really illustrate this. Let's make it concrete with some conversational prompts you can use. So instead of accepting the generic, I'm sad, as a moment before, you guide them deeper. You push. You might ask questions that lead them to something like, he promised he'd be here. Again, he's not. He swore this time would be different. And I, like an idiot, against all reason, I believed him. And now I'm just standing here. Again, completely alone. Feeling the cold, damp air on my face. Hearing that distant, almost mocking laughter from the street. And my heart just sinking with each agonizing silent minute that ticks by. See the texture there? Or, another example, instead of allowing them to settle for the unhelpful, I'm nervous, you insist, you guide them towards something like, this might be the last time I ever see her, and she has no idea. I have to tell her something vital, something that could change everything for her, for me. And I honestly don't know if I have an ounce of courage left to actually say it. I feel the tremor in my hands. I keep seeing my father's face, the look he gave me the last time I failed to speak up. I feel that precise knot tightening in my stomach. These specific, intensely textured events, they infuse the scene with genuine emotional velocity, palpable psychological residue. They unequivocally define the character's immediate, desperate urgency for action. This is how that why now question becomes absolutely undeniable. It's rooted in something real.
So what does this all mean practically in your rehearsal room, day to day? It means making running the moment before a non-negotiable part of your process, a sacred ritual almost. Every single time you approach a scene, don't skip it. Don't let your actors just wander into the scene blank or still or passively waiting for the first line to activate them. That's too late. Instead, have them arrive already in motion, psychologically, emotionally, already actively fighting for their survival within that moment, already burdened or lifted or driven by a recent specific event they've just lived through internally. The first line should never, ever feel like a simple intellectual starting point. It should feel viscerally, inevitably like a dam has just cracked, releasing this unstoppable, powerful force that's been building just out of sight. That is the undeniable power. That's the payoff as a fully realized and rigorously applied moment before.
Okay, so while the moment before is that immediate, explosive spark, right? The catalytic ignition, previous circumstances. This is why we go deeper, much deeper into the character's entire timeline, their chronology. They form the absolute, enduring psychological bedrock of their current behavior. Everything rests on this foundation. This is the profound realm where authentic, dangerous, and utterly captivating performance is truly built. It's the deep soil. It's the deep, simmering history, you could say, the geological layers of a life lived. And that history is what makes the immediate spark of the moment before resonate with such profound, sometimes shattering power. Because without this bedrock, without this history, that spark just fizzles. It has nothing substantial to ignite.
Yeah, and crucially, like you were saying earlier, these are not just biographical details, not passive facts you can list on a character sheet, born here, went to this school, job title. No, that's backstory, maybe, but not active circumstances.
Exactly. These are emotionally charged events. They are unresolved dynamics. They are identity-defining memories. Memories and events that have actively forged and relentlessly shaped the character over their entire life.
Right. Think of them like invisible fingerprints of lived experience left all over their psyche.
Yes. The enduring wounds, maybe, that haven't quite healed properly. Solemn promises they made, maybe as a child, that were tragically broken by them or to them. Simmering resentments that have just festered for years. Poisoning relationships. And those driving desires, those deep needs that follow the character into the scene like an inescapable, potent shadow. Always there.
So they're active conditions, not just past events. They're actively influencing every single aspect of the present moment, shaping every choice, every glance, every silence, and every single word they speak. It all comes from this deep well.
They fundamentally define how a line is delivered, the tone, the rhythm, the subtext. They define why a particular tactic is chosen over another, why plead instead of demand, why manipulate instead of confront. The history tells you. And ultimately, they define what is truly at stake in every single beat of the scene. What do they stand to lose or gain based on their past? So, as a director, you have to probe these deep-seated conditions. Ask the incisive, relentless questions. Go beyond the superficial, for instance. How many years have they been fighting for this tumultuous, draining relationship? How many cycles of hope and despair have they endured? What scars has it left? Or what profound, maybe even half-forgotten promise did they make to someone they loved as a child? A promise they still, to this very day, haven't fulfilled. How does that unresolved burden weigh on their conscience? How does it shape their decisions now? Their fear of failure, perhaps? Or what was really exchanged, not just the words, but the emotional currency, maybe a hidden threat, a silent plea, the very last time they saw this person in the scene? And how does that unresolved, potent exchange resonate and reverberate in this present moment, coloring every single interaction they have?
Wow. So these previous circumstances, when you really meticulously unearth them, they imbue the character with this rich, palpable, undeniably lived-in past. You feel it. They become these deeply emotional truths, revealing not just the surface details, but the hidden scars the character tries desperately to conceal, the broken promises that still might haunt their quiet moments, and the very identity they have painstakingly, maybe painfully constructed just for their own survival in the world, the mask they wear. This is the truth beneath the surface, isn't it? The story etched into their very being, shaping not just what they say, but who they are, and critically, who they must be to survive this specific scene.
Ultimately, previous circumstances infuse the present moment with a profound, undeniable sense of history. They layer the text, the dialogue, with rich, compelling, often unsettling subtext. And this means that even a fleeting pause, a slight hesitation, a seemingly insignificant glance within the scene, it doesn't feel empty or accidental, no. It feels utterly full, pregnant with meaning, weighted by everything that came before. It's like the invisible ocean beneath the visible waves of the dialogue. And that ocean is what gives every ripple, every craft on the surface its true, sometimes terrifying, power. It makes the character feel whole, complete, and often terrifyingly real because of it.
Okay, so bringing these two essential concepts together now, moment before and previous circumstances. The real brilliance here, it seems, lies in how they work together. Their synergistic interplay, right? The moment before is that immediate explosive spark, the match striking. We got that. But its precise nature, its intensity, its specific emotional flavor, all of that is profoundly informed and immeasurably deepened by the long-standing, often unresolved, previous circumstances.
Exactly. They aren't independent forces operating in isolation.
No, they're like two sides of the same incredibly potent coin, each one amplifying the other, creating this irresistible force.
We can really visualize it like this. Previous circumstances are the deep-rooted history, the vast accumulated weight of a character's entire life. That's their psychological bedrock, the very soil in which their present moment is rooted. The moment before then is the immediate trigger, the spark, the match striking against that deeply entrenched foundation, that fertile, maybe troubled soil. And that strike causes an urgent, specific, and ultimately unavoidable shift in the present. One without the other is simply incomplete. It's a spark without fuel, or fuel without a spark. Neither works alone, but together. They create an unstoppable, profound force that propels the character into necessary action.
And that synergy, that combination, creates this heightened impact and this inescapable, sometimes terrifying sense of inevitability. Like it had to happen this way. Think about it this way. A betrayal in the moment before, maybe finding an incriminating text message just now, that resonates with exponentially more power, doesn't it? If it's layered onto years of previous betrayals, layered onto a lifetime of broken trust, deep-seated trust issues ingrained by their previous circumstances. That immediate sting isn't just a sting anymore. It rips open an old, festering wound. It's devastating.
Precisely. Or flip it again. The courage required just to walk through a door in the moment before, maybe to finally confront someone. That simple act becomes monumental, life-altering even, when you view it through the lens of a character's history of avoidance. Maybe a history of crippling fear or a lifetime of shrinking away from any kind of confrontation. Suddenly, walking through that door is a heroic act.
So the immediate moment isn't just supercharged by the weight of the past.
It's defined by it, absolutely defined by it. The past gives the present its specific meaning and stakes. And together, these two concepts, moment before and previous circumstances, they load everything. They load every silence, every glance exchanged between characters, every tactic the actor chooses to play. Every single action an actor makes becomes not some isolated event, but a profound culmination, a result of their entire lived history. It becomes a necessary step in their ongoing struggle for survival in that scene, which means, and this is so critical, the character's objective, their core driving force, their desperate need, the thing they must achieve in the scene. It doesn't just magically appear when the first line of dialogue is spoken. No, it has been building, silently, breathlessly sometimes, accumulating power and necessity for what might feel like a lifetime to the character, long before they ever utter a single sound on camera. The scene isn't about the character finding their objective. It's about the explosive, urgent pursuit of an objective that's already burning inside them.
Right. So as the director,
Yeah.
your job is paramount here. You have to make this invisible stuff tangible for your actors. You have to bring it to life. You must ensure that your actor never, ever plays a scene in a vacuum, never just shows up emotionally empty as if nothing happened 5 seconds ago or 5 years ago. You are there to guarantee with unwavering commitment that the actor enters each moment carrying the full psychological momentum of everything that came before.
Everything.
And this isn't just, an optional extra, some fancy technique. No, it's the absolute core of truthful, compelling performance. It's what makes the character feel undeniably alive and utterly necessary to the story.
And achieving that, it demands an unwavering commitment from you, the director, and from your actors to emotional specificity. You have to tirelessly guide them, help them unearth the precise, stinging memory, the exact emotional condition, the specific feeling that is driving a particular line or informing a specific loaded silence. Challenge them to begin the scene not from some neutral, passive state, waiting for something to happen, but as if they've already been living intensely in its emotional landscape for hours, maybe days, maybe even years before the camera starts rolling. This deep immersion is absolutely crucial. It builds a foundation of authenticity that simply cannot be faked. It has to be lived.
So when you're in rehearsal or even on set discussing the next take, push them. Push them with essential, provocative questions. Questions designed to open up that character's internal unseen world. Crack it open. Ask them things like, where are you, precisely, emotionally, when this scene kicks off? What is the undeniable residue you are carrying into this room right now? Then dig deeper, closer to the ignition point. What happened 30 seconds ago? The thing we didn't see on camera. What is still vibrating through your body, still echoing in your ears, still lingering on your skin?
Yes.
And then, crucially, connect it to the deep history. What have you been desperately, frantically trying to forget, to bury deep inside you? But now, in this exact moment, you have absolutely no choice but to face it. What ghost is standing in the room with you?
These kinds of questions, they're designed to bypass the easy intellectual answers. They force the actor to tap directly into their character's emotional truth, their vulnerability, their fight. And when they respond, when they start exploring, you must demand concrete, visceral events, not abstractions, not labels. Do not accept a generic, I'm sad. No. Insist on something like, he promised he'd be here again. He's not. He swore this time would be different. And God, against all reason, I believed him. And now I'm standing here again, utterly alone, with the taste of ash in my mouth and the crushing weight of that broken promise physically pressing down on my chest. Feel the difference. Or don't settle for, I'm nervous, insist on. This might be the last time I ever see her, and she doesn't know it. I have to tell her something vital, something that could save her, and I don't know if I have an ounce of courage left to say it. I feel the cold sweat on my palms, and the ghost of my mother's disappointed gaze. It's burning in my mind's eye right now. Encourage your actors relentlessly to excavate memories that possess true sensory texture, the distinct sounds that echoed, the specific smells that lingered, the precise faces etched in their mind, the minute gestures that made a moment utterly lived, undeniable. You are aiming for a specificity that stings. That's the key. You want behavior that is deeply rooted in an undeniable truth, not just some abstract concept of an emotion floating around.
Right. And once these crucial living elements are unearthed, once they're deeply understood by your actors, then make running the moment before a non-negotiable fundamental rehearsal ritual. Every time, Demand that they arrive into the scene already in motion, already moving internally, not still, not blank, not passively waiting for the text to activate them, but already actively fighting to survive the emotional landscape they've just traversed internally. The very first line should never feel like just a simple intellectual beginning, like page 1. It should feel organically, inevitably, like a dam that has just finally cracked under immense pressure, releasing an unstoppable, urgent current of need in history. That's the goal.
Okay, now let's talk about the practical tools. My directors, these are precise rehearsal exercises designed specifically to ensure your actors actually inhabit these unseen forces we've been discussing, to make them tangible. These are not just, casual warm-ups or random improvisation. No, they are powerful ignition points, carefully crafted, meticulously designed to take the invisible psychological and emotional history of your character and make it profoundly, viscerally felt within your actors, in their bodies. These exercises are engineered to activate that emotional history, to sharpen the psychological stakes, and to propel actors into the scene already deeply, urgently in motion. Use them consistently in your rehearsals. Build that unbreakable internal continuity. Deepen their presence. And meticulously train the actor to live intensely and truly in the before, not just reacting in the now.
Okay, first exercise. Let's call it imagined event. Simple but powerful. For this, you'll guide the actor to improvise a 30-second moment before. Just 30 seconds. This can be spoken aloud, maybe a stream of consciousness, exploring their thoughts and feelings out loud, or it can be entirely silent and internal, a profound meditation on that specific event. Immediately upon its conclusion, no break, they transition directly, seamlessly, into the first line of the actual scene. Then, here's where the real insight comes for you as the director. Repeat this entire sequence, multiple times. But each time, instruct them to activate 3 distinctly different imagined emotional triggers leading into that same first line. For instance, one time they might be coming from a profound sense of betrayal. Feel that sting. The next time, maybe pure, unadulterated joy. Something wonderful just happened. And then a third time, maybe devastating loss, crushing grief. And you, the director, you observe with precision. Note how their behavior, their energy, their voice, their body profoundly shifts and transforms based on that specific past emotional fuel. This demonstrates starkly, right there in the room, in real time, that a line is never neutral. It's always charged by what just happened.
Excellent. Our second exercise, emotional flashpoint. This one goes deep into the previous circumstances. Here you will directly ask your actor, what's the one memory, the one image, the one feeling that they're desperately, frantically trying not to think about right now? This should be a core, often painful memory from their previous circumstances, something profoundly unresolved, a raw nerve. Then you allow them to just sit silently in that memory. Let them immerse themselves fully in it for 10 full seconds before they even begin the scene. That quiet immersion, it allows the emotional residue of that painful past to really saturate their entire being, to permeate every cell. It becomes present. Then, after the scene concludes, immediately follow up. Have them voice that internal monologue. What were you really thinking under every word? During that scene, what was the undercurrent, the subtext? What were you actively fighting against or maybe desperately holding on to? This brings that powerful, often unspoken subtext right to the surface. It reveals the hidden currents driving their actions, and it makes every choice they made in the scene undeniably specific and motivated.
Love that. Okay, third exercise, nonverbal entry. This one really focuses on the physical and emotional state before words even happen. For a time, you temporarily remove the first line of dialogue entirely. Just take it away. Instruct the actor to simply enter the space, the set, the rehearsal room, and exist purely within their chosen moment before, entirely nonverbally. Their only task is to say that first line when they truly feel ready, when the internal pressure of that moment before becomes unbearable, when the emotional truth absolutely demands its release and not a second before they have to earn the right to speak. Then repeat this precise entry 3 distinct times. Each time with different imagined previous circumstances fueling that moment before. Maybe one time they've just been abruptly, publicly fired from their dream job, humiliation and shock. Another time they've just received a devastating voicemail from their estranged father. Old wounds ripped open. Or maybe they just buried a beloved pet that was their only real companion. Deep personal grief. And you, the director, you compare. How does the timing of their entry change? Their posture, their very breath? the quality of their voice when they finally speak. You'll see how it all powerfully shifts and resonates differently under these varied, profound emotional weights. It's fascinating to watch.
And finally, the fourth exercise, object anchor. Using something tangible. Have the actor enter the scene holding or physically touching a specific object, something intrinsically and deeply tied to their previous circumstances. This could be anything, really. A worn wedding ring from a marriage that shattered, a faded photograph of someone they lost, a familiar scarf given by someone who betrayed them. Anything that holds profound, active meaning for the character and can trigger a powerful, specific memory just by touch or sight. Allow the object itself, the physical contact with it, to trigger the necessary emotional state before they utter a single word. Let them connect through touch. Afterwards, ask them, what truly changed for you? What became more visceral, more real when you had something tangible? Something to physically touch your memory and bring that history to life, to embody it. This exercise powerfully reveals how a simple physical anchor can deepen an actor's connection to the character's lived-in past. It infuses the present moment with tangible history and undeniable weight. It makes the past physically present.
Okay, so we've talked about what these are, how they work, how to explore them. Now let's understand precisely why all of this matters so profoundly. What happens when it's missing? Without this invisible setup, without this rich, textured tapestry of the moment before, and without the deep foundational currents of previous circumstances, your actor has absolutely nothing substantial, nothing true to launch from. It's like trying to jump off thin air.
Exactly. They are attempting to build complex, nuanced human behavior on empty air, on a void. And that is a task absolutely destined for artificiality, for fake performance. The signs of a missing setup, they are clear, and they manifest as a profound lack of authenticity. You'll see it immediately. You'll see flat starts to scenes, generic, uninspired energy, performances that just float, rather than arriving already in that primal, urgent state of survival we talked about, already fighting for something. When the setup is missing, every tactic chosen becomes a mere guess. An intellectual decision, not an organic need. Every choice made becomes decorative, superficial, utterly lacking organic drive or genuine purpose. The performance might look clean on the surface, maybe even polished, technically okay. But it will never feel inevitable. It will never feel truly dangerous because it lacks real character-driven stakes rooted in their past.
And that's why those performances float, isn't it? They're fundamentally disconnected from the emotional memory, from the profound circumstances, or from the inescapable consequences simmering within their character's life. They lack that essential psychological residue, and most critically, they lacked internal necessity. There's no why. The very essence of compelling, believable human behavior is just accent. Replaced by a hollow technical approximation, it leaves you cold.
But when your actor enters a scene carrying the full weight, the full, magnificent, and often crushing weight of the moment before, and the profound, undeniable echoes of previous circumstances, everything transforms. It's not just some subtle shift you have to look for. No, it's a profound, palpable transformation. It resonates with everyone in the room, on the set, and most importantly, it resonates deeply with the audience. They lean in.
Absolutely. You will witness explosive entries. Suddenly, the first line feels not arbitrary, not just lines on a page, but utterly inevitable. Like that dam has just cracked, releasing a torrent of pent-up emotion and intention. You feel the pressure release. Every glance they cast is suddenly loaded with a specific compelling history. You see the hidden scars flicker in their eyes. You feel the weight of broken promises. You sense the identity they've painstakingly built just to survive. Every silence becomes charged, palpable, undeniable emotional heat rising off them, pregnant with untold meaning, unresolved conflict. You can't look away. Every gesture they make feels like an undeniable aftershock, a tremor from something profound that has already happened, something that indelibly shaped them. It all makes sense.
And here's where it truly takes flight, where it transcends mere acting and becomes riveting human behavior. The character's objective, their core driving force, their desperate, urgent need, it doesn't magically begin on that first line. We've said this, but it's crucial. No, it has been building silently, breathlessly, accumulating power and necessity for maybe a lifetime. Long before they ever utter a single word in your scene, it explodes into the scene, fully formed, fully potent, ready to fight.
Yeah. This isn't just acting from imagination anymore, is it? Or from some intellectual understanding of the script. This is acting from raw, undeniable urgency, from need. This is acting from a profound, undeniable history, a history that hurts or lifts them. This is acting from deep, resonant pain sometimes, or from an exhilarating hope, or just from a desperate primal need for survival. It is acting from a psychological state so potent, so deeply inhabited, that it just screams. It screams, if I don't win this right now, if I don't achieve my objective in this moment, I will utterly collapse. I will be destroyed. That's the level of stakes. That's the truth that audiences crave, that they connect with on a gut level.
And this is precisely how you make a scene feel like it's already halfway through a tumultuous storm. Because, truly, it is. The storm didn't start when you called action.
Yeah.
The raining began long before the lights came up, long before the audience even took their seats. And your audience, they won't witness its gentle inception, no. Instead, they will arrive to find the stage already flooding, the wind already howling, and your character already fighting for their life, in the thick of it. This is the power you, as a director, must learn to consistently unleash. So let's distill this. The profound truth we've explored today. The moment before. It fuels immediate ignition. It forces the actor into urgent, specific action. It makes that very first breath on screen absolutely consequential. Previous circumstances. They fuel profound depth. They infuse every present beat, every silence, every glance with the brutal, undeniable weight of history. Together, these two indispensable concepts. They prevent neutrality, that's the enemy. They prevent actors from arriving empty, passive, waiting. They force characters into a visceral state of survival from the first frame, ensuring every first line costs blood. Every decision is weighted. Every moment feels inevitable. Remember this. A scene never simply begins. It explodes. It explodes from what already happened and from what has always been simmering beneath the surface. Your audience doesn't come to see a story politely start. They come to find themselves caught immediately in a storm already raging. This, my directors, this is your undeniable power. Harness it.
Thank you for joining us for this powerful session today. The principles we've really dug into mastering. The moment before and previous circumstances, they have a truly profound, transformative impact. They shape authentic, unforgettable performances, the kind that stick with you. These aren't just techniques to, apply mechanically. They are the keys to unlocking the deepest human truths within your actors, making every character's journey feel utterly undeniable, necessary. So we leave you with this final potent thought to really ponder: the unseen life of a character, everything that happens off screen before the scene. That is the most potent force you as a director can possibly unleash onto the screen. Continue to explore these principles. Apply them with rigor, with imagination in your craft, and you will see your work, and crucially your actors, transform in ways you perhaps never thought possible.